Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Beyond REDOX. I'm joined today by a very, very special guest. He's my friend, he's a colleague, and he's somebody that I've had an opportunity to spend quite a bit of time with over the last few months. So please help me welcome to today's podcast, Henry Lopez.
Hey, I'm so excited to be here, Frank. I think that's the nicest thing you ever said to me.
I don't say a lot of nice things to people. I don't like things getting out, so I keep those to myself.
No, thank you. I've been looking forward to being here on the show with you, and there's a lot of great things to talk about today. As you have seen, we just released, for example, the Renew Clay Mask, the only cell signaling clay mask in the world, right? And I'm sure everyone's used it. You can tell Frank, he's glowing, right?
I've been using it. What's interesting is I have had an opportunity to use it a couple of times, the clay mask specifically. Incredible results. We're seeing, over and over people submitting feedback and sending us posts and kind of sharing their experience about the clay mask. It is phenomenal. So incredible job to you and your team. Kudos to all of you for putting forward the effort, executing on the vision and not giving up. I know you were into this a couple of years before you were able to get it to where it lives today. Talk a little bit about that before we jump into some of the other things.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So as we all know, it's very hard to work with our actives and our products, the cell signaling molecules. Why? Because they're unstable. They're very unique. So we had to figure out a way to stabilize it. And it took about, I'm not even exaggerating, guys, about 2.5 to 3 years to finally get it down. And it's not so simple as to say, let's just put a bentonite product with our cell signaling molecules and boom, it's ready. No, you have to find out exactly what the ratios are to the amount of the bentonite to the cell signaling molecules and the other stuff in it as well. So you have to be somewhere in between. It's like a happy marriage of all the ingredients. Yeah.
That's a good analogy to use for that. How many different renditions do you know, like top of your head? How many different versions you had to do before you were like, okay, we got it?
Yeah, I lost count, to be honest, man. So, but there was at least a couple hundred of them.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
I thought you were in the single digits, maybe 50, 60, even as high as that. But to say hundreds, wow.
Yeah, and there was a lot of people that were so generous enough to be our test prototypes as well. So they would try it on and they would come out and be like, this is not as good, and this is good. So it took a while till we nailed it, where individuals felt that they got the result, but there was also a very nice experience. And afterwards, right, we wanted to make sure that the immediate results were seen right away, because this is a magnificent tool to use to bring in a new demographic to your business, or you're trying to bring people into what is ASEA redox, what is this cell signaling molecules? Because to be honest, Frank, when I started here, and maybe I'll just give you a little bit of background of myself real quick.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So I've been here for about 7.5 years, and then they've been happy years. I'll say that right now. And so when I started working here, they said, well, we have redox stuff in our bottle. And I was like, what do you mean by that? Like, how do you have redox in a bottle? And as I started to see more of the technology, I took a walk through the production plant. And if you haven't, please come down and see that.
Yeah, it's remarkable.
And you will see that the investment, the time, the money that has gone to the technology is incredible. And I noticed that too. And that's what made me buy into this. One, I was stubborn that I didn't understand what was going on. So I had to find out how to do it. And then I started working in manufacturing, the Renew and ASEA. So I have very intimate knowledge of how it works.
That's a good breakdown. Tell us a little bit about your bio, kind of where's your education, your background, and what you've done in the past.
Yeah, for sure. So I went to SUU. It's a school in Cedar City. It's not as popular as the big schools over here, right? But it's a great program. I did nutrition there. And then afterwards, I just became obsessed with health, and specifically preventative health, right? Because I believe that is one of the key things we're missing. You want to make sure that your quality of life is great. Your health is great. So I'm just going to ask this. Always ask yourself this question. I do this almost every day. am I surviving or thriving? Do you just want to survive every day and just be like getting by, right? And that's where ASEA comes in. We allow you to not just survive, but also thrive.
Yeah. Yeah. What a great analogy, or what a great question, really, to pose yourself. And we talked a little bit about it before we went on the air, but it's it taps into quality of life, right? Not just quantity. I'm not living just a long number of years, but I'm also living good quality of life. So, that's actually a really, really good question. Let me ask you something. I I know the team's been working on some stuff, specifically as it pertains to cell performance. Tell us a little bit about what's the team been working on for the last few months. I mean, I don't know how far back we go, but I know it's been an extensive period of time. And one of the things I'm learning about very quickly with just kind of getting to know you and the rest of the R&D team is time frames are very long. Yeah. Because there's the study and the time frame that is required to truly gather data is extensive. So tell us about some of the things you guys are working with on the cell performance side.
Yeah, for sure. And that's what we take pride here at ASEA, right? We really want to make sure that whatever we create in here has solid scientific literature backing it up. And cell performance is one of those examples. So when we made the product, it wasn't like, let's just sprinkle in this and that because it sounds cool and let's hope for the best, and that's not the approach we took. We actually have the most unique approach I have ever seen from a supplement company, and that is going through what we call here our 4 redox principles, or redox principles, to choose the ingredients. So they must meet the requirements of at least 2 of these principles that we choose to be even considered. And then once they're considered, we then pass it on to Dr. Andrea Borges and our team, and she will then say, okay, there's enough substantiation to make those claims, and you will see those benefits with the amount that you have put in this product. And that's key, because you'll see a lot of products out there that have numerous amounts of ingredients, yet they're not getting the benefits, right, with the amount that you use. So again, we put a lot of work behind it. And that's why it takes so long for our products to be developed.
Well, but it's the way we can ensure that we're delivering premium quality products, right, or results to some of these products. That's great insight and a great understanding for people to just be familiar with the process when it comes to kind of product creation or that part of development. Let me ask you a question. I keep hearing, we've done a couple presentations, a couple of the team days that have come in to the office. We've talked about this topic of telomeres. What are telomeres?
Yeah, so great question. You just went right for it, right? You just want everything, Frank. And yeah, the telomeres, we discovered that obviously when we talked about the principles that we use to pick our ingredients, this allows us to go more in depth of benefits. For example, our cell performance energy is more than just energy. It's also going to give you other benefits, and same with mind and mood. And what we discovered as we were doing our research is that we have ingredients in here that are going to support your telomere length. Wow. And that's incredible, right? What does that mean? Just simply saying it means that you're going to have a better and longer and healthier life with telomere length supporting it. Now, there is a whole trend right now, and actually, maybe a couple of years, about telomeres, and everyone keeps talking about it. And it's like, wow, did we just discover telomeres? Like, no, we didn't actually. But, interestingly enough, it's in the 1930s, there was a geneticist named Mueller. He was looking at fruit flies and trying to show that X-rays, when they're done, they can actually cause genetic mutations. But as he was doing this, he noticed that the ends of the chromosomes were a little different. And he wasn't really sure. He didn't look into it more than that, but he named them. He called it telomere because telos means end and mere means part in Greek. So that's where we got the name telomere. And then it wasn't until the 1970s or 1980s that more work was done to look at the structure and see, what exactly was that. And in fact, that group that did that study in the 1970s and 80s got a Nobel Prize later on for seeing what it does in telomerase as well, the enzyme. So let's talk a little bit more about, telomeres. We keep hearing about it and what exactly they are. So, what do you know, Frank?
Well, I don't know anything. That's why I'm the guy asking the questions and not answering them. I guess the question I would have is why do telomeres matter? Like why do I need them? What does it do for me and my health?
Mhm.
And then we can dive a little deeper from that.
Yeah. So to just break it down a little bit more scientifically, and then we'll do it in a little bit more basic terms. So telomeres are just repetitive sequences of DNA that are found at the very end of the chromosome. They serve like a protective cap,
Okay.
right, at the end of the chromosomes. So what does that mean? That means that it's going to maintain the optimal length that's going to support the aging process, because every single time your cell divides, because your cell needs to divide every single time, right? It needs to keep your body alive. It actually shortens and shortens and shortens. And after a certain period of time, it becomes so short that it has to actually go through apoptosis, which means cell death. Now, what the telomeres do at the end, they have those DNA sequences. So they literally will sacrifice themselves as they're being broken down, so it doesn't affect the inside of your chromosome, right? Because in your chromosome, you have, let's say, instructions to how your everyday organism should function. Now, what would happen if this is messed up? Obviously, there could be genetic mutations, or you're just not going to feel good, and the aging process will begin sooner. So that's why it's so important to maintain the length of these caps. It's like your shoelace, Frank. Like, say, when you barely have your new shoes, your brand new shoes, they look so nice, right? Your shoelaces, and they're protected at the end. And later on, as you keep, doing stuff, for example, I have these old shoes that I always cut the grass with, and my kid makes fun of it because he's like, "Oh, there's your shoes. It's time again." They're terrible shoes. I use them to do yard work, and the ends of those have the worst caps, but all my shoelaces are all messed up.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what happens with your chromosomes. If your caps start getting shortened, the chromosomes can get messed up, can get tangled, can get frayed. So you want to protect it.
So is it valid to say that telomeres are really almost like the shield to the DNA? I know they exist on the end, and for anybody listening or watching this for the first time, you just type in Google DNA telomeres, and it'll kind of showcase the distinction between what is the DNA and then what moves into what is the telomere. Is that kind of the function, and it's designed to help protect it even as it continues to replicate?
That's correct. So as it keeps replicating, like I said, it's going to divide and get shorter. So this is going to provide it so it can maintain that length, and it's not going to break down more the inside of that chromosome, that important information. So you can stay healthy and age bright. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, Frank, we have so much stress in our everyday life. We have pollutants. I know people who live here in Utah are very aware of how polluted it is here.
Yeah, and not great air quality all the time makes it challenging.
Yeah, so you're constantly under the stress, oxidative stress, and too much of that can lead to inflammation. And inflammation as well can actually shorten your telomere length. So we have to protect telomeres as well from all these things.
Let me ask you a question. Are there supplements out there that people can take for telomere support, telomere health?
Yeah, absolutely. So there is supplements out there, or ingredients, should I say, botanicals that will help support basically the health of it, but also increase telomerase. Now, telomerase is actually an enzyme that is going to help re-put those DNA back into the telomere ends. So it's going to say I have a really bad shoelace cap, and then I can tell it's getting shorter and shorter, but what I would do, I would just start putting more of that cap on. And that's what telomerase, the enzyme, does. So it can support the cap length.
So let's talk a little bit about, kind of how that differentiates with some of our, I guess the first question I'll ask is what do people do, or what can people do to better support their telomeres?
Mm-hmm. So basic things you can do. We'll start with that. You can also, like, exercising, eating the right foods, getting enough of your veggies, your fruits, even sleeping enough, right? Which we don't get enough of. And there's also ingredients, botanicals, and herbs that will help that, and to help increase telomerase, that enzyme I keep talking about.
Yeah.
And we actually have every single product in our cell performance line contains at least 2 ingredients that are going to help support telomere length.
Well, and that was going to be the next question, right? The first one is, we talk about there's supplements out there that do support telomere health. but then you talk about cell performance.
Exactly.
So let's talk about cell performance and what you just mentioned a little bit.
No, yeah, for sure. And again, we are very unique in the cell performance line. The fact that obviously redox energy, you just say, oh, this is just an energy product. No, but it's much more than that. This is, again, not to talk bad about other companies, but we have ingredients that are going to help support that telomere length. Like, for example, we have the panax ginseng in there, or the guarana, should I say, and then we have the vitamin B12. Now, that's 3 ingredients in there that are the levels that you need to make sure that you're being supported in the telomere length.
This is on the energy? You're talking about the energy specifically. It has 3 ingredients that help support telomere health.
Mm-hmm.
In addition, we're not just talking, this isn't just about telomeres, but in addition to having additional benefits,
Mm-hmm.
right? So do you want to touch on those additional benefits on top of the telomere support?
Yeah, so for energy, one thing I keep getting asked, I'll use my wife as an example. So, and she hates when I do this.
Well, she's probably done being used as the example. I'm so sorry. What's your wife's name?
Courtney.
Courtney, I'm so sorry. If you're listening to this, if you're having to watch this, we are really sorry that he continues to use you as the example.
Yeah, she's just very, I love her.
So now we call her Courtney.
Yeah.
Now we go by first name basis. Go ahead.
The reason why I bring her up so much is that Courtney is completely opposite than I am in the sense of like, she does not like science really. I love science.
Yeah.
So whenever I have to explain something to her, she's like, please explain this to like a 3rd grader or a 2nd grader. Or if not, I don't really care. But anyways, the energy, when it was created, I used her as an example to see how she would react to it because she gets the jitters with caffeine or any energy products, so she can't really use them. So when I gave her the product, I didn't tell her what it was. That's how much trust we have, Frank. And she took it. And then at the end, she was like, okay, I felt really good today. Like, I did everything I put on my list to do. And that's really rare for me, she said, because I usually get really tired with the kids. And that's when I told her, well, actually, you just took an energy product and it contains caffeine. And then she was like, whoa, what? Because I didn't get any jitters. She said my heart rate didn't increase. And that's because we actually looked at all the ingredients so they can actually work synergistically, right? So they're going to be synergistic effects. So for example, L-theanine and Alpinia galanga and the guarana that has caffeine is going to help decrease like that jittery effect of it.
Yeah, and I'll give you a little bit about my experience and my example, and I've heard this a lot as we've kind of had conversations with people and their personal experience with the product. You get this elevation in energy, which is gradual. You almost have to be keen on how you're feeling physically, and then once you're kind of feeling that high energy, it remains there constant. Mm-hmm. So it's not like you're spiking and dropping, exactly. And then sometimes I even have a hard time distinguishing when the energy's gone, if you will, because the drop is so subtle that I don't feel a crash or anything like that. And my wife, I'll give you another anecdote to share. My wife's name is Nicole, so we'll use that one too. She really, she used to use a lot of pre-workouts. And I said, why don't you swap it out for a pre-workout? Because the jittery effect, and we could talk, we'll do another podcast where we talk about pre-workouts, but she took it and she said, I don't feel this high energy. And then 15 minutes later, she came back and said, okay, I'm feeling it. I'm ready to work out. But she said, I love the effect of feeling like I just have more overall energy, not this kind of targeted, kind of almost anxious, jittery feeling from pre-workout. So I think what you're touching on is a good example of that.
Oh yeah, and again, when we looked at it, obviously, we did a lot of homework with these ingredients, like I said earlier.
Yeah.
And the nice thing too is that not only can energy, obviously you can take it by itself, but you can mix it with our other products to even get an increase in results. For example, mix redox energy and mind, and oh my goodness, you feel like, because here's the problem. A lot of times you may have the energy, but your mind is just everywhere. And by the end of the day, it was like, well, I had a lot of energy. Didn't get anything done. Yeah. And that's because you need to focus as well. Focus that energy you have. And that's where mind comes in.
Well, and talk a little bit about that. We talked about some of the ingredients, so let's touch on mind now. does mine offer telomere support as well, or ingredients that help with telomere support?
Yeah, it does. It contains zinc in there, and it has NMN. And NMN is just nicomononucleotide, and say that really fast a couple of times and you'll get used to it. Yeah, but no, the NMN is an incredible ingredient. So what this ingredient does, it actually helps create a coenzyme. We're gonna get a little science real quick.
Please.
It creates this coenzyme called NAD+. Now this coenzyme is needed to create sirtuins. Now sirtuins are responsible for a lot of different processes that go on every day in your body, the daily processes that you need to do, but specifically there is one called sirtuin number 1. And this is actually upregulated with the intake of NMN. And what that causes is sirtuin 1 increases telomerase, can upregulate it. So telomerase, again, let's go back to our previous topic where we're talking about how it increases actually the ability to put back the DNA into the telomere, the length, right? So it's going to support your aging as well.
And this is specifically to the mind. So in simplified terms, if I'm understanding, there's 2 ingredients that help the buildup of telomere. Is that accurate?
That's accurate. Yep.
Yeah, I don't get too sciencey with me. You lose me.
Yeah, no, that's great. But yeah, the Redox Energy Renews Mind combined 2, people have noticed, and I'm just going to give you my personal experience with it. So yeah, I don't know if you can tell because I'm wearing a suit, but I actually work out sometimes. Usually, like
you can see. No, people have seen you in person. It's fine.
You know, the trick is to wear small clothes, right? No, I'm just kidding.
Hasn't worked for me.
So I noticed though, you know, when you get into your prep, those last 4 weeks of going to competition are miserable. You're talking bodybuilding competition. Bodybuilding. For those that may not know. Yep. Yeah. So, and I competed in the classic physique. So what I did, because I didn't have energy in the morning, your calories are so low that you're running on fumes. So I would take this Redox Energy and the Mind together, and I could actually get my cardio done. Wow. I would do 40 minutes of cardio in the morning, fasted, and I actually wouldn't feel the cravings as much throughout the day when I take this product. And that's one thing too, because we have ingredients in there as well that are going to help kind of reduce the cravings. So like I said before, and you asked me, Frank, this is just more than energy and just the Mind product. And I also use, and I'll use my story real quick with the mood, and I'll tell you what ingredients are in there. But with the mood, I cannot tell you how amazing this product is as well, because when you're in prep and you're getting ready for a bodybuilding show, your cortisol levels are going to be elevated because you have a lot of stress in your body, obviously, and having so much cortisol as well is going to increase cravings. But Redox Mood contains, for example, ashwagandha in there, rhodiola rosea, that are going to help decrease the cortisol levels, this hormone that can cause too much stress, right?
Yeah.
And during my show, like I took like 2 sachets at once. Now, I was kind of getting really nervous, obviously, because this is my first time, but I got too relaxed, I think. I started laying down and listening to music right before I was going to go on stage. And I hear like someone's yelling like, number 22. And I'm like, oh, wait, that's me. I'm number 22. So I get up and she's like, okay, let's glaze you up. And I was like, what am I, a donut? And she's like, no, you gotta get glazed. I told you I didn't know what was going on, but I was so calm during the whole competition. And I really attribute that to the Mood product.
Do you think that the Mood specifically, what was the original intent? When you guys are looking at the product creation elements, what are some of the things that you're looking at to incorporate into that?
Mm-hmm. So we want to make sure that individuals are seeing the results right away. For example, in the Mood, we have an ingredient in there called Afron. Afron is just saffron, but a patented version of it. And in the studies, they saw that from a single intake, you're going to see results in the decrease of, for example, your stress levels, your anxiety. And actually, it's really cool because it actually increases vigor, and that's because you can actually sleep better while you're on it. Allows you to go into deeper REM levels, right?
Yeah.
This rest that you need. So yeah,
Amazing. And what are the ingredients? We haven't talked about the ingredients on the mood side that pertain to telomere support.
Yes, so it's going to be ashwagandha and saffron.
Okay.
Because ashwagandha is going to act like almost like a natural antioxidant, and that's going to help support that telomere length by protecting it from the oxidative stress.
So these all the Cell Performance line, as it currently lives or as it currently exists, it's almost complementary to one another. So the energy kind of helps kickstart your day, if you will. Then you can supplement it with some mind to help focus and allow for you to be able to kind of hone in throughout the day and really be able to have more focused thoughts and different elements in that direction. And then towards the evening, it allows for you to kind of lower your stress levels and help with the saffron.
Exactly. So again, this is all it's so beneficial to your everyday life. And with the Redox Mood, Redox Mind, Redox Energy, I just can't reiterate how much more they are than just what we've created them for. And you can see that with our telomere.
Yeah, and I was just about to say that, all in addition to supporting your telomere health as well, which as more and more studies come out, more we find the importance of maintaining your telomere health.
Yeah, and a question I just thought about was, what would happen if we stop taking the products, right? And then it'll support telomere length. So one thing I want to make sure is that we understand that you're always going to be under stress. We all are under stress always. So it's not like taking this once or twice is going to make your telomeres, I'm better now, right? So you do have to actually stay on something that's going to help maintain that
extended period of time. And it talks about what your opening segment or your opening question that you ask yourself, which is what? Every day you ask yourself this question. What is it?
Yeah. Are you surviving or are you thriving?
And that's the premise for these products. Henry, I want to thank you. This is super interesting. This has been super, super intriguing for me, and I think we're gonna have to do it again. I think we're gonna have to keep going. This is just the start. We're just getting warmed up, but I know we're out of time today. I just want to thank you for taking the time to sit with us, to join us. You've done an incredible job with being a part of this team. I know it's a whole team, and we get to have you be the face of it for today. Today.
Next you gotta get Dr. Andrea Borges in here, and she's gonna tell you more probably about the perimenopause, how it helps the mood products.
Well, let's not give them all away at once. But really, truly, I appreciate you taking the time to sit with us, to spend time with us, and to help all of us be better educated with what some of these products are. These are phenomenal products. The more I learn about them every single day, the more I know that I got to be on them, and I take them every single day. In fact, I have one right here, just ready to go as we've been having this podcast. But I just want to really, really encourage people to get educated, be familiar with the products and what we're taking. Henry, before we wrap up, anything you want to share as to what the team's working on? Any future things you want to give us a glimpse of?
Oh man, Frank! Wow, you just put me on the spot like that. Yeah, you know what? We are in the process of creating some amazing new products, and you'll see them in convention. I can't give out too much more information, but what I will say is that we are remaining unique.
Yeah.
And that is what ASEA is. We are a unique company, and that's how we differentiate ourselves from everyone else. And we're going to keep that going.
Wow. Well, we appreciate the uniqueness of this team and of this entire vision and organization from the R&D perspective. So thank you so much, Henry. Thank you for taking the time, and we'll see you guys again next time. Thank you.
You're welcome. See ya.